is going to play an important role, WhatsApp will play an important role. But please also understand that the political support is very, very important. I believe it's actually one of the more primary pillars, where your legislatures, your ministers are supporting the vision of the government and the chief minister. Only then can such projects get grounded, seeded, executed to the level that India actually should execute.
So when we talk about ease of doing business and speed of doing business, the other aspect that comes to my mind is the foreign direct investment into the country. Over the last 1 year, we have seen the issues associated with rupee depreciation, rupee volatility, and a lot of the economists and experts that we hear from, one of the underlying major factors has been the net inflows of FDI as a percentage of the GDP, which is affecting the rupee volatility. And a lot of FDI coming to India, which is the sticky capital versus the fleeting capital, what is FPIs. That sticky capital or FDI, foreign direct investment, they need certainty, they need ease of doing business, they need simple rules to build and run factories. And the center can only do so much. And the states have to do the heavy lifting. They have to pick up the mantle to ensure that FDI comes to the states, which benefits India as a whole. So from your perspective, given your experience with Google, that was a huge investment, a huge proud moment for the whole country. How do you think states should look at attracting FDI? And as you rightly said, when states compete, India wins. So how can more states compete with each other? What states can learn from each other when it comes to attracting more FDI, which will benefit the country and also give some stability to the currency fluctuation that we have seen over the last 1 year?
One thing I'm already noticing is states are competing. I think it's very unfair to say if we are not. Recently you would have seen my Twitter fight also on it. But I think that's good. That's good for the nation. Saying that execution is going to be critical.
Yes.
While signing and announcements are great, the political will to ensure that these projects are executed at the pace at which these companies want to do it is going to be critical. So there's greater responsibilities on the state to ensure that that is delivered.
Yes.
Government of India is creating amazing policies, frameworks. They're willing to relook at regulation. When I went on and spoke to the Honorable Finance Minister, Nirmala Madam, on a certain issue with regards to this particular project that we're discussing, she was extremely positive. She's like, yes, we'll do it. We'll get it done. So they're willing to change. They're willing to listen. They're willing to give guarantee, bring that policy stability that FDI is looking for. So that's something that's very important. And states are doing it. But I also believe that there's greater responsibility on the electorate. So Andhra, if you look at it, between 19 to 24, certain state agreements were reneged. So PPAs were cancelled. Certain companies were, for lack of better word, harassed. So it's important that the electorate also understands it. Because see, we are a very young democracy. And majority of our voters will also be first time voters now. So it's very, very important that they understand the importance of continuity of government. So, and understand the importance of long-term vision. Because to be fair, I keep telling my team, all the MOUs or all the investments that we land in the first 2 years are the only investments where I can show progress before I go for electoral cycle. The large investments. Because after the 2 years, we will land, but results will come beyond my electoral cycle. So it's very, very important that even the electorate understands this. And as politicians, we also explain it better. Right. That continuity of government is very, very important. If you look at even erstwhile Andhra Pradesh, right? If you look at Hyderabad's development, the continuity of government in 1999. So Mr. Naidu became the chief minister in 95, went for an election in 99. And that gave tremendous amount of momentum for erstwhile Andhra Pradesh. And that's how Microsoft, ISB, all that magic sort of kindled, and they were the catalyst and the trigger to sort of roll things out. So that is equally important. Yeah, I love questions.
Okay, so I think
We can take.
we have some time, so we'll open up for some questions
Can we
for
go
the
at the
minister,
back,
and we'll be
please?
very specific and to the topic at hand, please.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire, but to the topic at hand, technology and society. At the back,
Obi, to your left.
Yeah. In the interest of time, we'll cap it at 5 questions if everyone's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for the excellent session. I was waiting for this for quite long. I have 3 quick short questions. You have multiple portfolios which you are handling. All these portfolios are selected by you or offered by the CM? That is my question number 1. Sub-question to this is how the combination of all these ministries centered at one place is facilitating the growth of Andhra Pradesh. My second question is how you are leveraging the NRIs from let's say Andhra Pradesh or Telangana in terms of their talent, treasure for the development of Andhra Pradesh. That's my second question. And the third question is, apart from Chandrababu Naidu, like who all chief ministers would you interact for any developmental issues?
thank you, sir.
So, I'm sure all of you would have read my bio. But one thing all of you should also realize is I always choose the road less traveled. So, in 2019, I chose a constituency that my party has not won since 1985, and I lost. I lost with 5,300 votes. First time electoral debut, I lost. I stuck at that constituency for 5 years. I worked hard and I won it with the third highest majority ever in Andhra's history, which is 91,000 votes. And why am I sharing that with you is, coming to my portfolio, education is a portfolio I chose. And when news came out that I'll be the education minister, a lot of people messaged me, well-wishers called me and said, don't do it. And the reason they said that is, there are a lot of teacher unions, any decision you take is exceptionally difficult to implement, there are a lot of hostels, God forbid anything happens, you will be held accountable. And I said, that's the exact reason. That is the reason I want to take this challenge up. India's future depends on quality of education. And it requires someone who's sort of seen the world, who understands the ingredients better, and actually go roll up the sleeves and say, yes, I'll bring about the change. So that's a portfolio that I asked. I really wanted to do it. And, I'm really lucky that the Honorable Chief Minister chose me for it. IT electronics, I already thought education was a lot. I thought, I wouldn't have that bandwidth or time, but the Honorable CM then realized that, yes, education, tech sort of fits in very well. Again, IT, quantum is going to be important, so he aligned that. So the second portfolio is given by him. Third portfolio is real-time governance. That's again augments very well with technology, KPI-driven governance. So that came naturally with IT and electronics to me. So that's the background in that sense. Is it helping? Absolutely. I'm the chair of a group of ministers to create 2 million jobs. That's an electoral promise that we made. The vertical horizontal integration, education versus ecosystem importance is what I explained. So it really helps. In terms of my interaction with other chief ministers, yes, I've been lucky to interact with other chief ministers at Davos, meeting them at different occasions. So I learn a lot. I remain in touch with them. A lot of them are very kind to guide me when I have questions on certain things. So I think there is a generation of chief ministers today that I see who are willing to share ideas, who are willing to exchange views, or willing to nurture young talent, if I may. I think India is seeing a very new set of political leadership in that sense. And I believe that 2029 will be even more exciting because that change it's just started. And you'll see a lot more youngsters coming in and chief ministers who are willing to exchange ideas in that sense. So I think it will be very unfair to name a few and leave a few out.
Thank you. Any question? Yeah.
Sorry, one last question.
Okay. We'll have to keep it tight. We've been very loyal to the timekeeping so far.
6 minutes. Let's go.
Good afternoon, sir. We were talking about society. In that, one of the key projects of the Honorable CM is also the P4 or the Public-Private People Partnership. I found it to be very interesting, and there are a lot of talks around that and an integration of the family benefit management system. So I was just curious on how tech and FBMS is getting integrated into this entire ecosystem. And you talked about the electoral being able to understand all of this, the continuity, and this also involves often a topic about exclusions from certain government schemes, people who are saturating it. So how does this entire kind of thing get integrated into a one singular kind of a dream?
So that's where my third ministry comes into play, real-time governance. We have something called the data lake, where we don't look at individuals, but we look at family as a unit. So I look at family as a unit and we use data to understand ki family ka income kya hai, and then how do we sort of pull them out of that cycle of poverty, and how can we use various state or central government schemes to sort of target and pull them out of that cycle. So that's something that we've done, and that's where the P4 comes in. See, society has been kind on all of us. We've had access to good education, ecosystem, but there are a lot of people who haven't had it. So people who've had that advantage, who've used that benefit, we believe that they should contribute back to society. And it's not money. So I want to be very clear. It's not just about money. It's about counseling, nurturing. See, I am who I am because I had an amazing family ecosystem that stood by me during my tough times, right? They continue to guide me. I could have called, there were gazillion times I called my father and said, this is a challenge. Can you guide me? Or my mother, or even my wife. Right? I would always take feedback. Not many have this. Not many have a family that is exposed as much as my family is. But then there's responsibility of me to adopt families. Go spend time with them. Give them this insight. If there's someone who wants to get better education, give them the lay of the land. Expose them. That is the actual strength of the P4 model. So using technology, of course, to use and sort of guide in terms of what are the schemes, benefits, that's one part. But the larger part is actually guiding them, motivating them, and giving them that opportunity to pull them out of that cycle of poverty. So that is what again makes P4 very unique. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Minister, you have been extremely generous with your time. You have been gracing here and gracing the event with your presence and your insights. I think it's very promising for all of us to hear from the minister and get a sense of positivity and hopefulness from the next gen leadership of the country, which will lead to much better outcomes for the country as a whole. So thank you so much for your attendance, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I request everyone to please be seated as we wait for the security apparatus to lead the minister out and keep the hallways clear. Thank you so much, sir, and thank you, Siddharth.